Are the supply chain processes fit for purpose in the 21st century?
I think the processes have assumptions built into them. And the assumptions are that you can manage and assess security in a very intuitive way, in a way that doesn't involve any kind of structured approach. So there's an element of almost well, you could call it an old boys network. You know somebody, they're probably going to have a decent company, you trust them, therefore you trust their company. And that doesn't really work so well these days because they may think their company is great, so you can trust them. But in fact, their company has got problems, it's got security issues, there are processes missing, there are things that weren't a problem in the past that are a problem now. So for example, you might find that once upon a time, you'd have an address list and it sat inside your paperwork and it was safe. Now that address list is sitting on a computer, maybe that computer gets broken into, and suddenly the list of your clients is out on the internet, so people know who's using your product, who's using your service. And maybe they contact them and go, hey, guess what? Your supplier's got terrible security. And that is all due to the existence of technology. Technology obfuscates security. It makes it very hard for people to assert that something is sufficiently secure, or even to define what sufficiently secure looks like.
So do we have to rethink trust?
Yeah, I think my favourite phrase that I've come across is trust but verify. You can believe in someone, but that doesn't mean that you have to take everything they say at face value. And it shouldn't be seen as an affront to who they are, that you are doing that check. It should be seen as appropriate due diligence.
So what's one step we can take to helping this dilemma with the supply chain?
I'm slightly biased, but I'm going there anyway. Look at a framework for managing risk. So one framework might be NIST. My favourite framework, as I said, I'm slightly biased, is ISO 27001. It enables you to take on board third-party requirements if you yourself are a supplier or a provider of a product, but also to identify what you consider to be an adequate level of risk and then communicate that in a consistent fashion to your suppliers. And if your suppliers also implement that framework, they can then communicate back to you and assert and show that they are sufficiently secure in a way that doesn't involve you going in there and looking, scrutinising every single one of their processes, asking for logins to their systems, hiring a third party to go in. And imagine your supplier's got maybe 1,000 clients. Imagine each of those clients wanted to do an audit. That's just not scalable. If you use an internationally recognised framework like 27001, you can get certified against that framework. You can show the security measures you've chosen to adopt. You put those two together, so the fact you've got the certification and the list of security measures, and you've got a method, a tool for communicating with your customers and with your service providers about what you require and what they are providing to you and what you are providing to your customers.
The cryptographer Bruce Schneier
Yes.
talks about security being a feeling and a reality. So we can feel secure but not actually be secure. And we can be secure and not feel secure.
Yeah.
Can the two ever be balanced? Can the two exist at the same time?
That's a really good question. It's almost a question of the different parts of the human brain, how they coexist, because there's the part of your brain that operates on an instinctive level, and that's about feeling secure. And there's the other part of your brain that operates on a rational level, and that's about being able to prove you're secure. Interestingly, in society at the moment, I'd say that the two are getting further apart, not closer, because you have all these arguments that facts don't matter. That's moving the instinct away from the reality. It's saying my instinct matters more than evidence. So, there is evidence that X is happening. Oh, I'm just going to ignore the evidence because it came from experts, and I don't trust experts. That's the opposite of rational thought.
And if there was one threat out there that worries you at the moment, just the one, what is it?
People doing the best they can and inadvertently breaching security. It's people doing the wrong things for the right reasons. They mean well, So they take their work home with them, they put it on their home computer, which isn't secure, and bang, somebody else has got it. They mean well, they see an email that says urgent, they respond to the email. They spend a lot of money because somebody told them, somebody really important told them it was urgent. So they're trying to do the right thing, except that wasn't somebody important. That was in fact a random person on the internet impersonating an important person in their organisation.
So is there a fix to this? Is there one thing we can do?
If there were an easy answer, we would already have found it. There's an easy answer to how do you take this list of words and sort them into alphabetical order. There's an answer to what's the largest file that you've ever seen. There's an answer to how fast can you run. Those are all things that are very much more measurable. I think thinking about it that way, there may be an answer. If you can measure it, you can see whether or not something that you're doing is going to fix it. So, following that through, work out how to measure whether or not your security is effective, and then just try something different. There's a saying, if it doesn't work, try something else, anything else. Keep experimenting. I can't give you an answer, but I can say that is a route to finding one.
And how do we measure it? How do we measure this risk?
That's interesting, and that gets into the aspect of metrics. And metrics are something that is getting much more mature in information risk. But people used to say, how many incidents do you have in a week? Or how many attacks do you have on your systems? That's not measuring how well you're repelling borders. It's like how many pirates are there on the high seas? That tells you how well you're going to deal with being attacked by pirates. No, it doesn't. It just tells you how many times the pirates have attacked you, not how well you repelled borders. So you look at how well you repel borders. For those things which you detect, how many got through? How did you improve yourself? How do you manage and measure and monitor your risk? Do you monitor it? Interestingly, having metrics is a metric in and of itself. Do you measure? If there's an answer to that, yes or no. If you do, you're in a good place, because you can start seeing if those measures increase or decrease the amount of risk you have, and you measure risk by how many things have gone horribly wrong and how well you've dealt with them.
Thank you very much, Bridget.
No problem.